Hey, mighty companions, this is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to A Course in Miracles. And I always get excited because I know for at least an hour, I'm going to hear some sanity. I'm going to hear something that's the truth. I'm going to hear something that could get me out of whatever kind of pain, suffering, fear, or anything that I'm going through. That's what the Course in Miracles can do. And so we're going to talk about how love and joy and peace lives in you. That abundance and joy and peace live in you. It's going to be in the blue book, and we're going to be on lesson 93, light and joy and peace abide in me, and it's going to be page 161. Page 161 in the workbook, 161, light and joy and peace live in me. Oh, wow, that's awesome, because I don't know about you, but I have a tendency to look for happiness outside me and not inside me. The minute I think about having a good time, usually the first thing that comes to my mind is who or what outside of me I can get with, contact, go, do something out there that's going to make me happy. So the Course is basically saying light and joy and peace abide in me. So now remember the premise of the Course. The Course is just telling us the facts. And it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's just like me saying gravity exists, and whether you believe it or not doesn't have anything to do with the truth of that. That's the same approach the Course in Miracles has. I'm going to tell you the facts. You may not understand it, and that's not unusual for you not to understand everything. So that's no big deal. But I'm just telling you that whether you know it or not, no matter what you're going through right now, no matter what's happening to you right now, in your life, in any part of your life, love and joy and peace live inside of you. And another Course in Miracles definition of light is truth, and another definition of light is understanding. And I love that. You know, truth and joy and peace live in me. Understanding and joy and peace live in me. So love and joy and peace lives in you. That's where it's located. Where? In you. Okay. So I'm going to remind you of something today that maybe you forgot. Now, I'm not here to perform for you. I'm here to remember with you. I'm here to help us remember together the truth, because what's causing the pain that people are going through, do you want to know what causes all the pain that people go through? All the pain that people go through is coming from their thinking. All the pain and fear that people go through is coming from their thinking, because they're not thinking the truth. I read a statement in the Course in Miracles yesterday that kind of blew my mind. It says, the thoughts that kill are thoughts that teach the thinker that the thinker can be killed. And I thought about that for a minute. It says, because it was a line that goes, are thoughts dangerous to bodies? And then I was reading the text. It says, is thought dangerous to bodies? And then it says, yes, thoughts are dangerous to bodies, because the thoughts that seem to kill are the thoughts that teach the thinker that they can be killed. So I was like, wow, he's saying that people die because they think they die, that some part of us believes in death. And so that thought that we have in death, that believe in death, manifests as what is we perceive as death. But the Course is saying, yeah, I know, but guess what? It ain't true. There's not one relative, there's not one friend, there's not one cousin, there's not one person you've read about or seen on TV that has died that it's not anyone that we know that's ever appeared to die that has actually died. My mother did not die in 1992. My father did not die in 1994. What happened was they laid down their bodies because they had fulfilled their purpose and their function up to this point in the physical body, in this physical dream. I'm just telling you what the Course says. Not that we have to believe it or accept it or welcome it. He's already told us. Some of it we may actively resist. But I love it. He says, I'm just going to tell you the way it is. And I'm going to teach you how to get rid of all the blocks that keep you from recognizing that light and joy and peace abide in you. So that's why I'm saying we're here to remember the truth together. And the truth is light and joy and peace abide in me. I'd like for you to just silently say that to yourself right now. Light and joy and peace abide in me. Light and joy and peace abide in me. Even when I feel like I'm flopping spiritually, even when it looks like people don't come back to class, even when it looks like I'm having a disagreement with someone, no matter what my ego ever tells me, no matter what you believe about yourself or what you believe about somebody else you don't like, light and joy and peace live in you. So, Holy Spirit, higher power, I want you to remind us of our light. Remind us of our joy. Remind us of our peace. Not later, not when we are more spiritual, but right now, remind us of our light, our joy, and our peace. Right here in this funky little Zoom box, or whether it's in this sacred circle that we have with each other right now. Take a breath. So, what's the core idea? Check this first paragraph out in lesson 3. Say, if you want to get over a lot of resistance that the Course may get in you, you can say stuff like this. A part of me thinks I am the home of sin. When a person generally says, I think I am the home of sin or evil or darkness, a lot of resistance will come up. And the person will say to themselves, well, I don't really think of myself as evil. I don't really think of myself as the home of darkness and the home of sin. So a lot of times it's easier to get past those kind of blocks if you go, there's a part of me that thinks I'm the home of evil, darkness, and sin. Notice the difference. There's a part of me that thinks if anybody could see the truth about me, they would be repelled. You ever felt that? If somebody really knew what you really could be like deep down inside, they would be repelled by you. And the Course says, recoiling from you as if from a poisonous snake. So, wow. Yeah. If you knew the truth about me, you would recoil from me just like I was a poisonous snake, because I have envy, I have jealousy, I have insecurity, I have fear, I compare, I attack, I'm afraid, broken in two by periods in which it looks like I'm feeling just fine. If there's a part of you that thinks that if what is true about you were revealed to you, and you really saw the truth about you, and it was really revealed to you, you would be struck with horror. If you haven't noticed, I'm starting out on a very positive note today. I'm always shocked if anybody show up at my Course in Miracles class. I got a really nice following online, but I'm always really, kind of surprised, because the Course in Miracles is always saying just the opposite of everything our ego wants to hear. So it's always saying just the opposite of what the world has taught us to believe and what the world has taught us to value. So in order to get to that really loving self and peaceful self that the Course is talking about, you have to be willing to tell the truth about your own ego and tell the truth about your own fearful, angry, selfish, unhappy thoughts. It says you can't get rid of an obstacle that you won't look at. If you're walking down the road and there's a boulder there You got to look at the boulder before you can go around it. So this whole idea that if we don't pay attention to any of our fears and we hide them and repress them, then somehow or another that's going to make us get more enlightened. It's the same as walking down the road and seeing the boulder and claiming if you cover your eyes and keep walking straight ahead, you're not going to run into the boulder. And so the Course says that people are suffering because they've forgotten who they really are. That the only reason why anybody suffers is because they've forgotten that they are a child of spirit, that they have unlimited power, that we create through our thoughts, that we are just not bodies. We're not just men and women walking around separately, hoping that we meet somebody that's going to make us happy one day. That's not what we are. But right now he's saying, what I want you to do is tell the truth about your ego. I just want you to tell the truth about your ego. Because he says these beliefs, that there is a part of us that's not really cool. He says, well, these beliefs are so firmly fixed that it's difficult to help us see that these beliefs are based on nothing. Like when somebody feels really guilty and really bad and really unhappy, have you noticed that when you try to help them, they have a hard time believing what you're saying? Like if they're feeling really guilty about something they've done, you say, no, you're not guilty. You're innocent. No, you don't know what I really did. That's what the Course is saying. It's difficult to help you see that all your insecurities are based on nothing. It's difficult to get you to see that your being lonely is not based on anything that's really true. So he just tells you from the very beginning that that much is true. That much is obvious. So just tell the truth. Say, there is a part of me that thinks some parts of me are not too cool. There is a part of me that thinks if you all saw the other side of me, you would be repelled from me as if from a poisonous snake, because Earl isn't always the calm, cool, handsome, intelligent, brilliant person that you're seeing in front of you, right? So there's a part of me that thinks if you saw that side of me, that you would be struck with horror. And if I really saw some of the stuff that I think about myself, that he said, you want to commit suicide. There's a part of you that wants you to think if the truth about you were revealed to you, you would be struck with horror at who you are. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, so what makes the Course in Miracles so powerful is just your being willing to read it is you looking at your ego, looking at your flaws, and letting yourself release them. So when you read it and you hear stuff like, I think there's a part of me that's so bad that people knew about it, that they would recoil from me. Don't you see, you just admitted that there was a part of you that feels that way? So you brought that thought out of unconscious up to conscious so that it can be released. And then this tells us how we release it. You with me? I'm going to keep checking in. You with me online? Okay. That's why I always tell people, watch my classes at least 4 times. It's hard for me to believe that people remember much of what I say, because I've noticed in 45 years of studying the Course that people tend not to remember what the Course says. And if I'm saying what the Course says, then they're going to forget what I say, because I'm saying the same thing. So I came to the startling realization that Jesus of the Course has been saying always, Purdy, this is what I want you to do. What you want me to do? I want you to accept what the Course in Miracles is saying for yourself. What? I want you to, your only job is to read this, share the message that I'm telling you to share, accept it for yourself first, and just accept it for yourself. Do not try to correct anybody else or fix anybody else or get them to see anything any different than the way that they see it. I'm not telling you this so that you can make somebody else accept it. I'm telling you this so that you can accept it. And I'm telling you this to tell the people that I send to you to hear it through you, regardless of how they're responding to what you say. So I know these people sitting in front of me right now were sent to me to hear what I have to say through the Course right now. And if you had walked in here and it was like it has been at other times, where this room was filled and the other room was filled, that was because those were the people who were sent to hear what I had to say at that particular time. And so now, would that make me feel better about numbers? Yeah, if I thought that people were being sent and it had nothing to do with my popularity or charisma, that would be a lot more of a peaceful class because I would be satisfied no matter who shows up. I still would feel inspired, which is why you see me sitting here no matter who shows up. Because I know that you were sent today and it wasn't an accident, that whoever's watching, same thing true, that it's not an accident, and all I have to do is give it the course to you as a gift. And he says when you give something to somebody as a gift, you don't have any kind of conditions on if they use it, how they use it, or if they respond to the gift the way you would like for them to respond. Would I like to say something to you and watch you jump up and down and scream and shout in enthusiasm? Of course I would, but then it wouldn't be a gift that I would be giving you, because I would be imprisoning you by the desires that I have about how you should be responding to me. So now I just gave you a gift and I imprison you with it, because now I'm trying to make sure you use the gift the way I want you to, which would be jumping up and down. So if you give any information or anything to anybody, you only are giving it in the spirit of love and the spirit of God. If you don't care how they respond to it. If you don't care whether they thank you, don't thank you, remember your birthday the next time or not. If you care anything about how they should use your gift, your conversation, your solution, your thoughts, well then you at that point are imprisoning them. So what I'm doing is trying to do the same thing. Let the truth come through me, let the love come through me, and not be addicted to how the person responds. Why am I saying that? Because you know and I know every one of us are going to have 50 times to try that out this upcoming week, which is us sharing something or telling something or saying something to somebody and being tempted to want them to respond to what we say the way we want them to respond, which isn't a gift, it's an imprisonment. So he's saying to us that you, I love this, that you have made mistakes is obvious. It's obvious that you've made mistakes. Look at your love life. Look at your financial situation. Look at any aspect of your health situation, the world situation, whatever you are looking at and judging as not being as peaceful or loving as you would like for it to be, is where you have made some mistake in the way that you're looking at it. That's why I try to open up some time for discussion after the class. Because if I'm looking at any situation correctly, I'll feel peace. So are you telling me if I found out that somebody that I knew in a terrible accident, that when I reach enlightenment, I'll feel peace? Yeah, you'll feel peace because you'll know that there's nothing that's happening to that person that is not a lesson that God would have them learn, and that God in the higher power is with them, is going to teach them in as loving a way as it possibly can, whatever their lesson is supposed to be from having that situation. And so you know that this is an unlimited spiritual being that's in a human body right now, that won't always be in a human body. And so we will one day be in a state that we cannot be hurt, because we can only experience pain because we think we are in physical bodies. But once we leave our physical bodies, we don't have any pain of any type anymore, because all pain is always associated with the body, or something the body has done, or something the body has said, or something that the body is doing. So once you're out of the body, you're out of all pain because you're not a body. So if you knew that, and you knew that was true about the person that was sick, that they are going to be healed, no one suffers forever, spirit is with them, whether they're in the body or out of the body, they're still going to be loved, and you knew that as an absolute certainty, you would not only not be upset when someone left the body, you'd be celebrating for them that they've left the body, and they're no longer in a world where all kinds of crazy stuff is happening all the time that doesn't reflect love, but reflects specialness. So you will get to the point that you know this person has learned the lesson that God would have them learn right now. Now they're liberated from their body. And then the Course says if you were to have a death, which would be called a liberation, and you were to have that the correct way, which by correct means you are coming from a place of total innocence, and you're coming from a place of love, so that when you make your transition called death, that it would be like a gentle laying down of a body after you have used it and it has done everything that it's supposed to do, and you're supposed to do it. That a death that's coming from your innocence would be a liberation that would not be one that would be full of violence, attack, and pain and suffering. That when you do it the way Spirit wants you to do it and is teaching you to do it, it's not a painful thing to go through. When you're still doing it from the perspective that you're a body and that you're separate and that you're guilty and that you're a man and that you're a woman or whatever you want to call yourself, as long as you are doing things from that perspective, then the Course says, then you still have some unconscious guilt and you still have some unconscious fear if you're still seeing everybody as separate from you. So in that case, you may lay your body down in a way that's not so painless. But you don't have to. So it keeps saying, so then you go, well, how do you do this? Well, he goes, well, this is what you do. First, you tell the truth, and you say, hey, there's some parts of me that's not so nice. Okay? He says, then the next thing you do is you allow yourself to be shown that all your negative beliefs about yourself are based on nothing. So why would I be in a special relationship with someone if that person wasn't always trying to remind me of my value and remind me of my innocence? Why? Because a person who thinks they're bad and a person who thinks they're guilty and a person who thinks that they can be hurt, this is a person that will attract painful, unhappy experiences to themselves. It's coming from their belief in their guilt or their separation from God or that they are not loved enough or loving enough. Now, the ego, which is your wrong voice, it's going to tell you, go outside, make some type of insane arrangement with the world, and then you'll be okay. So if you go out there and get the right degree, if you go out there and get the right income, if you can find the perfect soulmate, if you can obey the laws of society and do it the way the world tells you to do, then you are going to be absolved of your sense of worthlessness and your sense of guilt, because now you see yourself as a valuable person. He says your wrong voice, your ego, is going to always tell you that if something outside yourself were different, you'd be happy. So your wrong voice is going to always, the very first thing it's going to do is direct you to something on the physical plane that you need to have and you need to get in order for you to be happy. And so the Course is telling us that that's a mistake. That's a mistake. So he says it, that you sought salvation, that you sought peace. That's what salvation is. That you sought it in what kind of ways? Strange ways. So he said, you jokers have sought happiness in very strange ways. You think that riding a roller coaster is going to make you happy. You believe that buying certain type of clothes is going to make you happy. You believe that your happiness comes from very strange things. Making sure that you absolutely don't wear anything that's white in the fall, right? Is that your world's going to come to an end. If you do, if you don't wear your skirt too short, then everything's going to be. And that's what he's saying. That when we don't feel good about ourselves and we feel guilty, then the world has taught us all these crazy things that we need to try to do in order to be all right. And so I love it. And he says it. The fact that you've been deceived. All of us have been lied to before in our life. He said that you've been deceiving. Yes, I have lied to others in my life. That I'm afraid of foolish fantasies. And I have savage dreams. Sometimes you get so angry. I had a person say the other day, the only reason why in one situation they didn't kill somebody was because they knew what would happen if they did. But they wanted to. They had that much anger and that much hatred and that much upset. So that's a person that can be helped to me, because that's a person that's willing to admit that they do have these thoughts about themselves that needs to be changed. And so the Course calls everything that we worship outside of ourselves here, he calls it an idol. And he calls it an idol made of dust. And he says all this is true about what we believe. It does seem like it's true that I can deceive and be deceived. It does seem like I can have fantasies that make me feel afraid. It does seem like there's some savageness out there that I sometimes see and hear about in the paper. And he says, well, that's going to be true by what you now believe, because of what you now believe, because of what you now believe. Then people go, well, what is it that I now believe that causes that? Well, you believe that you're a body. You believe that you're separate. You believe that there's a part of you that's innocent and a part of you that's guilty. You believe that you were born, you live a certain amount of time, and you die. You believe things happen to you that you have no control over. You believe that you are not really innocent completely and that there are some type of flaws in you. Well, based on having those kind of beliefs, and your beliefs create your reality, then you have situations that happen that you deceive and are deceived in. Things are going to come up that frighten you because your beliefs are based on something that's not true, which is that you don't have love and joy and peace inside of you. That you believe that you don't have a totally innocent, wholly pure, wholly beautiful nature that's loved unconditionally no matter what. You don't believe that you're an immortal being that's now just having an experience in the physical body for a while so that you can learn certain lessons in love that you're choosing right now. But you had to forget that you created this so you could take it real serious, which is what you're doing. So now when someone tells you you're more than a body, and they tell you you're totally innocent, and they tell you you can create your reality to be any way that you want it to be, well then that frightens the hell out of you, because if I'm the creator of my experience, then that means I'm the creator of the stuff I don't like as much as the stuff that I do like, because people tend to love the idea that they created it if it's something that they love and enjoy, but they don't want to hear, oh, that marriage came from you. You created that. You don't want to hear, oh, the way you're looking at your body, that's your perception, and that's not true. No, nobody, your childhood is not what you're a victim of. Your childhood is the way the lessons in love came to you, and the way you chose to have those lessons come to you right now. That you are totally innocent regardless of what you do. That's your true nature. Everything else are the beliefs that you've been taught manifesting around you. So your financial situation is a direct reflection of your thought. Your physical condition is a direct result of your thought. Your relationships are the direct result of your thought. And it's a part of you that's mad at you because you have not lived up to its expectations. And it wants to punish you for that. So it'll give you a relationship that sucks. And it'll give you a job you go to every day that you hate. And it'll give you a body that you judge and condemn, because that's a way of you punishing yourself for not living up to your own expectations. And when you don't, you attack your body. And because you can't attack anybody else, because you're consciousness, you're spirit, you're mind, you're non-physical. So if you're going to attack, you got to do it through the body. So now I'm mad. He says, why? He says, because my body isn't living up to what it should be doing for me. My body should be making people be attracted to me at some level, or should be seen as handsome. All these judgments, especially as your body gets older, you start to have these judgments about it, because it's then that you most realize how much you are in an environment and a reality where you are judged by how you look more so than the content of your character and who you really are. Right? So the ego tells you, like he said at the very beginning, you are full of darkness. That the fact that you care about how people think about you and how you look, if people really knew how vain I really am. You know, I had a problem with my tooth the other day, and my gum got inflamed, and I couldn't put my lower partial in. And I was amazed at how much a part of me was self-conscious about people seeing me looking snaggletooth. And I said, wow, interesting. Still, there's a part of me that somehow believes my value is somehow tied to the way that I look to people. But the people that I ended up being with were people who were safe for me, so they didn't care. Because most of the stuff that you care about, that you worry about yourself, that you think other people are concerned about, I don't know how to blame it, how to share it with you, but other people aren't thinking about you. They're not walking around all day thinking about you. They're not thinking about how you look, how you dress, what you do. At the most, when they see you and you are kind of looking out there, they'll just say, wow, she looks really out there. I ran into Earl today, and he really had on a pretty wild outfit. Do you know, on the average, how long their conversation is going to stay focused on me? Just like that. But I could be freaking all day going, I'm Snaggletooth. Oh my God, I'm Snaggletooth. Then somebody go, oh, Earl was Snaggletooth today. And then they go on to, let me tell you what happened with my mother-in-law last night when I went over there. See, it's our own illusion of specialness that jams us up all the time. Is that our ego tells us we're the most important thing in the world, but everybody's ego is telling them that. So everybody's the Course says everybody wants to be special. It says if you really want to know the one belief that drives the entire world, because the Course says, let me simplify this for you all. Y'all making it too complicated. The one thing that's guaranteed that everybody in the physical world wants is to be special. They want to be singled out some kind of way. They want to be seen some kind of way. They want to be noticed some kind of way. And then, of course, says that people who want to be special, they will attack and hurt themselves and attempt to hurt others sometimes to get the attention, as well as be the smartest and the best. You know, I realized that I got on my spiritual path to try to become a more loving person, because I thought I was such a bad person. So my getting on the spiritual path was more based on me trying to raise my own self-esteem than anything else. And so, but why? Because I want to be more special. You follow what I'm saying? So that's what the Course is saying. If you want to cut to the chase, I don't care what a person's saying to you, in the end, they want specialness some kind of way. They want attention some kind of way. They want to be seen some kind of way. They want to be singled out. That's why people get so jealous. They go on a party, they see their partner talking to somebody else, and then what is that really threatening? That's threatening their specialness. This is the person that might get some of my specialness. And there's only so much specialness to go around. And then you hear that, and then you go, oh, I'm pretending that I'm not jealous, and I'm this nice person, and I never get upset. But if they knew the truth about me, they would recoil from me. See, just like what he's saying, right? And then he goes, that you sought happiness in strange ways. He says, that's true. That is true. I have sought happiness in strange ways. You know, I thought having a train would make me happy when I was a kid. That's a strange way to believe I'm going to be ultimately happy. So then he goes on to the next part of the lesson, and then he goes, today we question this. But we're not going to question it from the point of view of what you think. So what does Jesus of the Course say? We're going to question this, but not from the point of view of what you think. That's not the way we're going to question what I'm teaching, is by what you think. He says, I'm going to give you a very different reference point in which you can look at what we're talking about. He says, because when you look at it from this reference point, your idle thoughts about yourself won't mean anything. Like he said, well, if you let me explain this to you, all those negative thoughts you have about yourself won't mean anything. Would you like to have every negative thought or fearful thought you have about yourself not mean anything? He says, well, that's great, because we're going to question your point of view. But I don't want to hear your point of view. That's so deep, right? It says it right there in the book. We're going to question this, not from the point of view of what you think, but from a very different reference point, when such ideas as you don't deserve to be happy and that you're such a bad person that people knew how bad you were, they would recoil from you. We're going to get rid of those thoughts. And then you go, well, how can you get rid of my insecure, fearful thoughts? How do we get to this? How do I get to this point that I start to feel better about myself? And I start to love myself more, and that I'm not judging myself. How do I get to this point? And then he says, oh, let me tell you how you get to the point that you have peace about these thoughts. These thoughts, what thoughts? These thoughts, what thoughts? That you are dark, evil, and sinful, that people knew the truth about you, they would be repelled, that if the truth about you were even revealed to yourself, you would be struck with horror, so intense you would rush to death by your own hand. These thoughts, these kind of thoughts, these thoughts are meaningless. And then you go, what do you mean these thoughts are meaningless? I do have these fears. I do have these insecurities. What do you mean they're meaningless? Then the Course says, like, it hits you like that. He goes, the reason these thoughts of you not loving yourself and judging yourself don't mean anything is because none of those thoughts are according to God's will. Your Creator does, none of those thoughts are the way your Creator thinks about you. None of your negative thoughts about yourself is the way your Creator thinks about you. None of your frightening thoughts about yourself is the way the universe thinks about you. And you have to take a minute and you have to let yourself hear that. I'll say that to you all again. The reason why all your negative, fearful thoughts about yourself and why anybody else's negative, fearful thoughts do not mean anything is because that's not the way love looks at you. That's not the way God looks at you. Nobody that loves you would look at you the way you're looking at yourself. Nobody that really loves you would think that you really are evil, would think that you could say something to them that would make them repel from you, that if you knew the truth about yourself, it would make you want to kill yourself. The truth is, none of that's according to God's will. None of that is the way God thinks. None of that is the way somebody or something that really loves you would think about yourself. But then when I read this, I don't know about you, but when I first read this in the Course in Miracles, it didn't mean nothing to me. It didn't make me jump up and down with joy. Why? Because I didn't believe it yet. I don't believe that God is not judging me for some of the actions that I've done in my life. I'm not believing that the universe doesn't have some karma out there for me because of something I might have done in the past life. Oh, that's the same thing. That's just a fancy way of saying love is going to punish you one day, is to say it's your karma that you're going to have to be killed because you killed somebody. That's the exact same thought. That's a thought that's not according to God's will. Love wouldn't look at you that way. Love wouldn't say that to you. He said, and then what does he call it? In the very next sentence. So why am I doing this in the book? Because one of the things I hear the most in all the years I've studied the Course in Miracles is how hard it is to read the book. Like, I know that reading the book is how people get the miracles that they're looking for, but it's also the thing I've seen to be the thing that people have the most. They'll read books about the Course. They'll have 100 books written by someone else talking about the Course, but actually do what I'm doing in the Course, reading what it's saying, trying to apply it. It's not a lot of people you run into that do that. And do you know why? Because the Course says you get what you wanted, and you don't think you deserve it. So since you don't think you deserve the happiness that you say you want, and the love that you say you want, and the success that you say you want, then he says, then you're going to do everything in your power to do just the opposite of everything that would get it for you and would allow you to have it. That's what the book says, right? Yeah. If you don't believe you deserve it, then everything I tell you to do that would help you have it, you ain't going to do it. You're going to find a reason not to do it. And I've already told you one way that you allow yourself to have what you have, to have what you deserve, is to admit to yourself there's a part of you that thinks you're a bunch of crap, that doesn't think you're as loving as you are, that doesn't love you, that's mad at you, that's mad at other things, that thinks it's a victim, that's pissed. Admit it. There's a part of you that's not so friggin' nice. And if you do that, then now I can show you that that's a mistake, and now I can start giving you the instructions that would actually get rid of those negative thoughts that you have about yourself. But not while you're being a bliss ninny and trying to pretend that you don't have these thoughts through covering it up with what you think of as positive thinking, which is not doing anything but hiding your negative thoughts about yourself. And then it says those negative thoughts that you're hiding, you create those negative thoughts in the form of the problems that you think you have. Then now you got a financial problem. Now you have a relationship problem. Now you have, he says, well, all those things are nothing but those negative, fearful thoughts that you have, that you're in denial that you have. And so they're being projected out into your physical world, and you're having to deal with it every day. And you don't realize it's because you're not telling the truth about your own ego, and you're pretending you don't have one. And it's like, okay, what's going to happen if I do that? Well, these weird, he calls them these weird beliefs. God doesn't share those weird beliefs with you. So I want to join with other people who want to let go of their negative, fearful thoughts about themselves and they're willing to join together with me for that purpose. That's what I'm asking for, because he says you need to ask for what you want. And that's what I want as a teacher, and that's what I want as a student. People who have reached their limit to the point that when they're hearing something like this, they're on the edge of their seat because they're wanting to hear the thing that they know is going to give them everything they've ever wanted in their life. And they go, okay, you're really telling me that if I do what this is saying right now, then I can be in a state of constant joy, in a state of constant peace, in a state of constant safety, and a state of constant happiness, regardless of the crazy stuff that seems to be going on in the world, that I don't have to depend on politicians and what they're going to do, and other people around me who don't even know they're innocent, and they think their bodies, and not only think their bodies, they also hate other people and judge other people and condemn other people. I don't have to wait for that person to change their mind in order for me to be healed, in order for me to have peace. If I'm willing to let this truth be accepted by me, myself, and then the Course says, yeah, but to make that happen, there's one important thing that you've got to keep in mind through this whole process, or I won't be able to do it for you. Then I go, well, what is that? You recognizing that you're not going to be the one that does it. You being willing to let go of this idea that you're going to fix yourself. You're going to be the one that learns and studies so much that you're going to make yourself this unlimited happy person. You got to understand you didn't create yourself. I created you, so I also know what would make you happy. I created the cow. I created the grass that the cow has to eat to survive. The grass came with the cow. The grass came with the cow. So you were created, so everything that would make you happy and nourish you was also provided, just like the grass was provided for the cow. But what if the cow decided it was going to make up what it ate? Then the cow would be out of luck. The cow would be starving all the time because it would be trying to make itself fulfilled on something other than grass. It would be trying to do it on a Snicker bar. You know what I'm saying? The Course is saying the reason you jokers, and that's what jokers talking about me, he said the reason y'all not happy is you're looking for your happiness where it's not located. You're looking for it in the wrong freaking place. It's not a big mystery. The thing that you think is going to make you, do you really think you'd have to chase the person that was for you? Do you really think you'd have to chase the job that was for you? Do you really think you have to chase the income that's for you? Do you really think you'd have to chase the friends that are really for you? The Course says when something is coming to you from love, it's irresistible, and it finds you irresistible. You can't resist love. It's no such thing as resisting love. Then people go, what do you mean? I resist love. No, you didn't. You didn't resist love. You resist specialness. You resisted specialness. That's what you resisted. I decided not to get into a special relationship with you. And so I'll say I resisted you. No, I resisted the special. If it was love between us, I would find you irresistible. You would find me irresistible. And we would have total harmony with each other. And we would click. And we wouldn't be afraid of each other. We wouldn't be distrusting each other. And we wouldn't be suspicious of each other. I know that I've got to learn how to let the blocks go that keep me from having that kind of love. Because I've never seen it. And I've never experienced it. I've never seen it in my life. I've seen people do wonderful things to people because they're special to them. I've seen parents do stuff for their kids because their kids are special to them and they call it love. And I've seen people be in romantic relationships that it seems like they're doing things because they're special to each other. And when you're special to each other, you will do things with each other and for each other as long as you act right. I have to find anybody to tell me in the human body where they've really met truly unconditional love yet. Not just because they treated you, somebody treated you nice in that particular situation that you were in. But the truth is, the Course is saying, and I'm going to use your specialness. And I'm going to use your specialness to teach you what love really is. I'm not asking you to get rid of your special relationships. I'm not asking you to get rid of your monogamy. I'm not asking you to get rid of your polyamory. I'm not asking you to get rid of having a solitary life where you don't give yourself a special love relationship at all. What I'm telling you is this. I'm telling you that I want to get rid of as much of the insanity in your relationships and fear in your relationships and anger in your relationships as you will let me remove. And I'm looking at that, I'm going, what? Yeah, I'm not trying to take your specialness away. I'm not trying to take your special. I'm saying I want to get rid of all the crap out of your relationship that keeps it from being something that you all are so turned on by each other that you can scarcely refrain from falling on your knees and crying because you love what you're looking at so much. And the Jesus of the Course says, until you look at each other that way, that you're looking at each other with such love and appreciation because you're so beautiful to each other, until you just literally almost drop down on your knees, you're not seeing the person. You're seeing what you're projecting on the person. And I haven't seen anybody to that extent yet, even though I've gotten pretty close. So I don't see you all. I don't see the people online, and I don't see you. The only thing I see in you is what I'm projecting on you and the meaning that I'm giving you based on my past experiences. That's all I'm doing. That's all you're doing with me, right? So the Course is saying, okay, let's loop it back. Then you have these perceptions of yourself, the ego, that you are not loved and that you are not loving, and that people knew the truth about you. They would freak out. It says, that's why I'm here, to get rid of all those thoughts. And then you go, well, how do I get rid of those thoughts? And then he says, first of all, realize that none of these thoughts are the will of God. Now, none of your negative thoughts have anything to do with love. None of your negative, fearful thoughts has anything to do with your Creator. In other words, he says, I love it, he says, these weird beliefs. What? Yeah, the fact that you can see yourself as unworthy and see yourself as sinful and guilty, this way love would look at you. What? That's just the weirdest, that you could not be loved by God, that you could have somebody want to hurt you, that someone that wants to attack you. It's like love would like, what? These are weird beliefs. You got weird beliefs about yourself if you think you don't deserve love. You got weird beliefs about yourself if you don't think you deserve abundance and you don't deserve to be happy and that you should suffer and that love is sacrifice. So these are weird beliefs. And I love that because nobody wants weird beliefs usually, right? So look what the Course did. The Course called you seeing yourself as not deserving love a weird belief. It's calling you thinking that you have lack a weird belief. It's calling you being sick a weird belief. Why? Because your mind already wants to get rid of weird beliefs. So the minute that you call a negative thought a weird belief, your mind is going to automatically want to get rid of that thought. That's why I like to read out of the book, because the way the Course phrases stuff is like getting smacked in the face. Like he says, these weird beliefs God doesn't share with you. What does that mean? He says, well, the fact that your Creator doesn't believe that you're evil and bad and sinful and guilty, that's enough to prove those beliefs are wrong. If your Creator said that's not true about you, it should be the end of the story. If God, the Creator, all that is saying you're innocent, you make mistakes, mistakes can be corrected, mistakes can be healed, I'm not going to beat you, I'm not going to punish you, I'm not going to abandon you. That's what y'all do to each other. That's what beings who think their bodies do to each other. This is what beings who think they're separate and sinful and guilty do to each other. They condemn each other. They don't respond to each other's call for help. They attack because they think somebody's doing something to them. But I love you. So I'm going to let you know that the negative thoughts that you have about yourself are wrong. But guess what the last part of this sentence says? This is enough to prove that these weird beliefs are wrong because God doesn't share them with you. But guess what? You do not perceive it. Right. I mean, what could be more honest than that? My Creator doesn't believe I deserve to suffer. My Creator doesn't believe I deserve to suffer. My Creator doesn't believe I deserve to be sick. My Creator doesn't believe I deserve to be murdered. My Creator doesn't believe I deserve to starve. My Creator doesn't believe that I deserve to be alone. My Creator doesn't think that I'm a worthless person, that if people knew the truth about me, then they would recoil as if from a poisonous snake. So I ask God to help me. I ask God to help me. Then God, so the Creator goes, okay, I'm going to help you. What I'm going to tell you, first of all, if you want to get past your negative, fearful thoughts, I'm going to tell you the first thing you need to believe is I don't feel that way about you. that I love you unconditionally. I'll never abandon you. I'll never desert you. I'll always be here, no matter what you do, no matter what you do. I don't have that weird belief you have about yourself. Just because you don't like yourself doesn't mean I don't like you. So that should be enough to prove your negative ideas about yourself are wrong, because I'm God, and I told you I don't think that way about you. You see, that's where you start. You start with the fact that that which created you loves you, not some person that you're trying to get to love you to prove to you that you're valuable. The first thing you work on is your perception of what your creator is, because he says everything you allow to happen in your life is a reflection of the relationship you think you have with God. He says if you really want to know what your relationship with God is like, it's whatever you think your personal relationships are like. So if I'm in a special relationship with somebody, the way I see my partner treat me is the way I see God is treating me. The way I see my friends is treating me, that's what I really unconsciously, subconsciously believe that's how God feels about me. So if you want to know how you think God feels about you, how do you think the people that you're closest to feel about you? Especially the ones that you're in special relationship. If you're always saying my partner always shows up late, I can't depend on my partner being there, then that's exactly the way I think God is. I think God shows up late in my life, and God isn't being exactly the way I think God should be. Whatever I think my relationship is with another person is the relationship I think I have with God. So what do I need to do? I need to look at you the way God looks at you. What would that look like? It would be me, you telling me that you have all these negative, fearful thoughts about yourself, and these suicidal thoughts or anger thoughts or whatever kind of miserable thoughts that you have. Then I am going to think that, well, those thoughts that she's having are not according to love's will. That's not the way God would do it. That's not the way love would do it. So she just got through telling me some really weird beliefs, and they're wrong. But I know she doesn't perceive it that way. So I'm going to, as much as I can, witness back to her innocence. As much as I can, I'm going to witness back her value. As much as I can, I'm going to show her how much I appreciate her, because that's what love would do, and that's how love gets rid of the blocks to love. She doesn't know those beliefs about herself are not true. When you're miserable and unhappy and complaining and bitching and moaning and saying all the stuff you think is not going the way you want them to, when you're doing that, that's the same as identifying with that stuff that was saying is evil and dark and that it's not worthwhile and that it's not really valuable, because if you really thought you were valuable, you wouldn't even be worried about whether or not you could attract someone in your life if you wanted a relationship. So the issue is your relationship with your own innocence, that you need to be reminded that light and joy and peace abide in you, and that your innocence is guaranteed by love, and that it's guaranteed by God. And I'm going to keep on saying this, no matter who's listening to me, no matter how many people are or not, I'm going to have the message of your innocence is guaranteed by God. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. You are not sinful. You are not sinful. There's no such thing as sin. There's no such thing as sin. There's nothing you can do to change God's love. There's nothing you can do to lose the Creator's love. So there's no such thing as you doing something so bad that the Creator cannot heal, that the Creator cannot heal, that the Creator cannot heal. Not your brothers and sisters that think their bodies. I'm not talking about those jokers. They are not going to step up because they still believe that they are separate. They still believe that they can have evil, darkness, and sin and guilt within them. So they're not capable of giving you unconditional love yet. But you are capable of remembering that they are innocent even if they've forgotten. And if you do that, that makes you a savior. And then the Course says what happens when you see people correctly as innocent, then you will be given everything you need to stay in the physical body, because Spirit knows you think you need money here. So that you will be covered if you fulfill your function. I'm going to stop here. And I'm going to keep saying it over and over. I've been saying it here at this church almost 30 years. You know, all I tell people is, you're innocent, you deserve love. You're innocent, you deserve love. You're innocent, you deserve love. I know you don't perceive it, though. I know you don't perceive it, though. See, I know you don't perceive it, though, but guess what? And then it says, an awesome question, and I'm going to stop here, but I want you to hear this question in the next paragraph. He goes, why would you not be overjoyed? Right? I mean, notice that, and that's the thing I've noticed over many years. I don't care how positive I am. I don't care how loving I try to be. I don't care how I go out of my way to try to make people hear their value. And you're lucky if you get 10 people show up. Why is that true? Why is it that we're not overjoyed to be assured that all the evil that we think we did, he says, was never done? Why aren't you overjoyed to learn that all your so-called sins are nothing? Why aren't you overjoyed that you are pure? Why aren't you overjoyed to hear that you are holy? That means you are beautiful. Of course, as holy means beautiful. So why aren't you overjoyed for a man to sit in front of you and tell you, you are beautiful, you are pure, you deserve to be healed, God loves you, there's nothing you can do that can ever lose that for you. He says, guess what though? He says, why are you not overjoyed to hear that love and joy and peace abides in you? And then at the end of that, when you be going, he goes, your image of yourself cannot withstand the will of God. So your ego is not going to win. I don't care how negative you think about yourself or how fearful you can be about things or how upset or worried or afraid. He's saying that's an image you have of yourself. That you being evil and dark, that's an image you have of yourself. Thinking that you're not beautiful, thinking that you're not holy, thinking that you're not loved. No, but does he have a really fancy car though? See, that's the ego. Yeah, but how many degrees do they have? Do they weigh 150? You know what I'm saying? The ego is gonna always come up with things outside yourself that need to be different in order for you to be happy. And that's how it deceives you, and that's how people stay miserable, because none of those things in and of itself is going to make a person completely happy. But this is the way it works. And I told you to watch it 4 times. This is the way it works. I'm a happy person. I think light, joy, and peace abide in me. I believe that I see it, that I see my value, that I'm loved. And I feel happy on the inside because I decided to be happy. So guess what? I go to my house. I'm happy in my house. I'm with my friends. Guess what? I'm happy with my friends. I'm in an intimate relationship with someone. I'm happy in the relationship. Guess what? I'm in my car. You see what I'm saying? So it's not saying that you want to enjoy the world and that you couldn't enjoy all the incredible things of here. But if you are happy, if you've allowed yourself to be made happy, then all those things are going to be satisfying to you. And so you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. All you have to do is accept this and not try to get your mama to do it. Except what? Your creator doesn't think you deserve to suffer. Your creator doesn't think you're evil. Your creator doesn't think you're sinful. I don't believe that. I know I told you that you didn't. That's why I'm telling you, because you've forgotten. Deep, 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 deep. And it's also hard for people to believe that just by reading the book, they can see 90% of their problems vanish right before their eyes. Thank you for sharing with me. I'll say that again. If you sincerely do what the Course says, and it starts out with hearing the ideas, he says, if you want to go in that direction, I'll take care of the rest. If you want to go in the direction of your peace, I'll give you everything else. I'll take care of everything else. Everything else, everything else. Everything else, everything else. So we just heard the way out, right? Why wouldn't I do it? Just like he said, why would you not be overjoyed? Overjoyed to know that all the stuff you think you did was never done. He says, well, guess what? I don't care if you don't. your image of yourself is not going to withstand the will of God. Love is going to win. Love is going to win. Your spirit is going to win. The Creator is going to win. I don't care whether you think the Creator is going to win or not. I don't care if you believe a thing I've said today or not. I can't care in that sense and love you, because then I'd have expectations and demands on you for how you should respond. So I'm going to just keep seeing you as innocent and sinless and guiltless regardless. And so if you want to, as a full-time teacher, thank you for your generosity. And if you want to make a financial expression of appreciation, which I would definitely appreciate, you can use Venmo, the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle, or you could go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. I got a new website, check it out. I send out a weekly newsletter, and I have things from the lessons that I've taught, how you can use it in your everyday life, as well as astrological insights to what's going on also. It's in my newsletter. And so I'm putting it out there, and I'm here just to be truly helpful. Because either I'm going to talk about some stuff that's loving and inspirational, or I'm just going to be listening to parts of myself called other people talking about more stuff to be afraid about, more victim consciousness, how everything is going to crap. It's like those are calls for love. I'm not condemning people for doing that. It's just not what I want to hear. Unless you're going to tell me about the stuff that you're complaining about, and you're going to say, and let's take this to the truth so it can be healed. What would the Course say about this? Or whatever your spiritual teaching is. Yeah. You know, that's what I want people to do. Okay, it's great. The Course says that you should say what you're upset about just the way it is. But then it says, bring it to the truth. And that's what I want. It's the part, too, that I don't see happening a lot around me. Is that people complaining, but I don't hear anybody putting no truth in there, right? So that means I need to put more truth in it, because everything on the outer is a reflection of what's going on within me. So I know who needs to be corrected as soon as I think I know what needs to be corrected in you. Then I don't even bother you. I don't even, unless you say, Earl, give me some insight. You're not going to hear me in a party giving unsolicited advice. I don't do that. Because I know the person that asked me is the person that Spirit sent me, and I can talk freely the way I really see it. But when I choose somebody, they might go, are you out of your friggin' mind? Because I decided they needed my wisdom. And it's hard as heck to do that if you got children. It's really hard to let other people teach your children, that they'll hear something through another person that you say all the time, and they don't hear it out of you. But they'll come back and go, Dad, I just was listening to this person online, and they said, your thoughts create your reality. You know, like, I've said that since you were born. But somebody else had to say it before them to hear it. So if my ego needed it to be her father that said it, then I get my feelings hurt. Why? Because that didn't make me feel special. See, and that's the thing. The Course is saying, I'm not trying to snatch your specialness away. People believe the Course is anti-special relationship. The Course is anti-painful relationship. So he says you can use one person as the representative of all people. So let's say you think you want to love everybody. He says, well, you can do it through letting that one person, since you're so focused on love only being between one person and another person, they then go, this person is representing all people. And then I'm going to treat you the way the Course in Miracles is teaching me to treat people. I'm going to start out with you. You're going to be the one that I practice this on by changing myself first. So, because I want the easy way and I'm kind of lazy. So I know it's easier for me to change me than it is for me to change you. So I'm so glad I can resign from trying to fix or correct anybody. Thank you, God. I've been nothing else but that today has made it worth the ride. Yeah. Because you already want it, so who would be easier than you? If you already studying the Course, for instance, and that's your path, then for it to say, oh, okay, all I want you to do is accept what this just said for yourself today. Would you be willing to do that. Would you be willing to do it quicker than your auntie would, or your cousin probably, or your boss? But you would go, yeah, even though I don't understand this all the time, I'm still attracted to it. Okay, then you would be the easiest person to affect. And just because you were willing to listen, that's also your giving spirit permission to do its thing. It's also you going, okay, Holy Spirit, you take over here. You decide. How do you know you can trust me, Holy Spirit? Because I'm doing the things that you're telling me to do. The little simple thing like reading lesson 93, saying that there's a part of me that thinks if people knew the truth about me, they would recoil. And then for me to tell myself, I'm thinking about myself in a way that love wouldn't think about me. And not condemn yourself. Just tell yourself the truth. So this is a very, very, very powerful lesson that we're going to go through. And I am not going to let your image of yourself withstand the love that I want to give y'all, and vice versa. Because my love is not demanding anything of you. I'm not asking you to do anything for me that you don't want to do, ever. I don't ever ask anybody to do anything for me they don't want to do. Stop asking people to do stuff for you that they don't want to do. That's not love. Oh, yes, but, no. You deserve to know that innocence abides in you. You deserve to know that you deserve peace. You deserve safety. You don't deserve to feel threatened. You don't need to feel like you're a victim of your world. You deserve to have everything that's loving and beautiful that you want in your heart, regardless of what you think about yourself. That's the truth about you, and that's the truth about me, period. So check out my classes on YouTube, check out my classes on Facebook, and like I said, if you want to share with me, you can use my email address, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. And like I've been sharing over the last few weeks, everything about our culture and everything about our society is about to go through the most radical shift that's been seen in hundreds of years within the next 3 years. You're already seeing signs of it with technology and other things that are happening. As an astrologer, also being able to communicate with spirit through that realm, everything is right now. We are in a major paradigm shift of awakening to who we really are at another level. All the old ego ways of doing things are not going to work anymore. All of that fear, control, domination, manipulation, all of that's got to go, because going into the Aquarian age is an age of equality and humanitarianism and respecting individuality and realizing that we all deserve to have what we need equally. So the whole structures of a few people having everything and nobody having anything, all the stuff that we see that's happening right now, it's all part of a great awakening, because so much love and so much light and so much truth is coming into our dimension right now from everywhere that is stirring everything up more than it's ever been stirred up before. And we're also seeing what we call the death throes of an old system. It's, like that. You think they're gone, like on the horror movies. You think they're gone, their hand come out the ground one more time, right? And that's exactly what's happening right now. The hand of the ego is coming out the ground, and it looks like it's gone, just totally insane. Every day is some new level of insanity. That's because the old way is about to die completely. And the people who are choosing for love, the people who are choosing for peace, and the people who are really choosing for truth, they'll go through the transition in a lot easier way without a lot of suffering. Those who still insisting on being angry and projecting and being separate and projecting guilt, they're going to, by their own decision, probably have go through the transition with a lot more suffering than they necessarily need to. So you need to make a decision as to which camp you're going to be in, the love camp or the fear camp. And if you really believe you want the love camp, then join with me and other people like you who are trying to do this. We need to come together. We need to get just as excited about being in each other's presence for the truth as people were for the Taylor Swift concerts. I'm serious, because that proves to you that when people love something and they value something, there's nothing they won't do for it. I'll pay $15,000 a ticket and buy hotel room and fly to another country to see her. See, and this is not rich people doing this. This is regular people valuing her so much that they were willing to do everything they could to be there. That's the lesson. Not to be a hater with Taylor Swift, just showing you the power of desire, the power of when somebody really wants something, what they'll do to get to it, right? And so let's be that way about God. Let's be that way about love. Let's be that way about each other. Let's be that way about the truth and valuing things like this. So I want to invite you, again, those in the area in Denver, to come to the in-person class at 1555 Race Street. And the truth of me always knows it's the perfect people that's here, no matter how many people that is. Don't get me wrong. I understand that too.